And we should be starting any second. We're seeing lots of friends pop in the chat room already.
Aww.
That's awesome. Shall we start? Let a couple more people get in the room?
Pac-Man Jr. I know that person.
Oh yeah. And let's see. Stelzy, I know Stelzy's out there. C17.
This chat app is very nostalgic to me.
It's very 90s. You know what? Let's go over to the camera so that everybody can see us.
All right.
There we are. Hello.
I mean, you can't see me.
We'll slide over a little. Hey there. So we've got, my name is Jeff Fritz. We're here live at DevIntersection. You can see the logo in the corner there under Suz's chin. I'm a program manager on the .NET community team. Yeah, they've got to stick it somewhere. Go ahead and introduce yourself in case folks on Twitch don't know who you are.
Yeah, so I'm Suz Hinton, and I work at Microsoft under the Dev Relations org, and I'm a cloud developer advocate for Azure IoT.
And we're giving this session here. We've got an amazing audience here. Make a little bit of noise so the folks on Twitch can hear it. There are thousands of people here. It is amazing. It's packed.
Thousands.
Okay, fine.
I'm going to call you out.
Fine. So we want to talk a little bit about IoT. I'm a C# developer. You're a JavaScript developer. And you do all kinds of really neat things on Sunday mornings on your Twitch stream, twitch.tv/noobcat. Or is it noopcat? Let's settle this.
It's technically noopcat.
Okay,
if
with a K.
If you're going to be pedantic, yeah.
Okay, and Sunday mornings you do a whole bunch of stuff with JavaScript and IoT.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Oh my gosh, and the hardware interactions that you have with these things are really cool. We did something on Tuesday for Connect with an MX chip.
Yeah, did anyone see that?
Did anybody in the room see that yet? You guys were here for DevIntersection, so you might not have caught that yet. I'm sure some of our friends online saw it. Rambling Geek is out here. Thank you so much. I'm sure that some of these folks saw it. Really neat working with animated GIFs and getting it onto a chip. I've never touched IoT. I'm a cloud person. I build C#. I build ASP.NET. I'm used to building things that are cloud scale, you know? And I'm not used to working with the little things. So I thought it'd be cool if we could get together and put something in place that does a little IoT, does a little cloud, maybe a little cognitive services, and solves a real world problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
so this is a problem that you're legitimately having at home, right?
Yes, I have a problem at home. Okay, this isn't the only problem at home, but this is a problem that I have at home.
I mean, I'm an IoT expert, not a therapist, so.
Fine. So here's the problem, okay? I live in the Northeast. I live in Philadelphia.
Let's just move this camera a little bit.
Sure.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's better. We fixed the headroom there.
Yeah.
So I live in Philadelphia, where we have to keep our houses warm with things like heating oil. So I've got a big 275-gallon tank that sits in my basement, and folks come by once a month and they deliver and fill up the tank. Now, as it starts to get cold, like in November, December, we start progressively using more and more heating oil, and it's good to know how much oil is in the tank so that I know when to call them for the first delivery. But the tank has a little gauge on it.
Okay.
It's a very analog gauge. It's a float that's sitting in the tank, and it just makes a number appear in that little gauge.
Yeah, do you have a photo of the gauge?
I do, and my problem is, as a tech person, I don't go down into my basement and go staring at this gauge all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't need to go staring at this thing. So if we cut over to there, that's your screen. Can you flip over to the other video feed there?
5?
5, please. There we go. So that's my screen.
Okay.
So check this out. We've got 2 screens, and it's really neat.
Yes, sir.
So it's this really old, like solid steel gauge that's welded to the top, screwed into the top of the tank, and it just has a number that floats in there.
Got it. And it's named after Scully from the X-Files. So what's going on there? It's a cool name. It's pretty cool. I'm going to pretend that that's what's going on. Oh, Robert Table's just joined.
Hey there, one of our friends that's usually joining us.
Yeah, and Chef Brent, how's it going?
Chef Brent from Twilio. I see some Twilio folks in the room also.
Yeah, that's why I thought I'd call him out.
But no, it's not. This gauge has been in my home since the 70s. I bought the house, and this is the original tank sitting in my basement.
Right. So you would think that you can't do IoT stuff with this, right?
And I'm lazy. I don't want to have to go wandering down to the basement. How much oil do we have today? I would love to get this number on like my phone, on a watch. Power BI dashboard, I think, is a sensible thing for us to try to put it on today. I have a couple pictures of it at various levels so that we can try and figure out what that number is on it.
Okay.
So thinking out loud, if we go Raspberry Pi with a camera mounted on it.
All right. So you mean like something like this? Like you kind of brought this to prototype.
I brought that to prototype.
So
there you go. So it's a Logitech C920.
Which is a very like high resolution camera. So this will be good. It's going to capture the pixels.
So if we can take a picture with a Raspberry Pi that's just sitting next to the tank, or maybe even clamped onto it, take a picture, and if it's always in the same place, we can, and some folks in the chat room were saying this, use the optical camera, do some recognition, some text recognition on it so we can see, here's the numbers.
Okay.
Then I've got at least some idea, here's what it is. And then put that number in a database or somewhere, or send it over to a mobile device that, or would be really cool, and I'm gonna have to talk to my Xamarin friends, would be to get the little distractions things that pops up on the Apple Watch, so that one of the things down here next to the Microsoft stock price is, it's not the exercise stuff, because I never complete that, but it's the number of gallons in my oil tank.
That would be kind of cool.
Okay. So how do we set up, like I know how to do a little bit of the cloud stuff.
Okay.
If I can get the pictures somewhere into Azure, like an Azure Blob Storage, I can run with it from there.
Okay, so once it's in Blob Storage, what would you be doing with it? Like, how would you process that?
So here, let me go over to my screen. So when it gets into Blob Storage, right? Don't want to give away the ghost just yet. So I have Blob Storage over here. This is a storage account that I have set up and I use all the time, called Jeff Cat Images, because I need to store my cat images somewhere.
I was gonna say, are you a cat as well? Because like Noah Cat, Jeff Cat.
No. No, I just keep funny pictures of cats, so that when the time comes and you need a picture of a cat, it's there in my Azure storage.
It's very practical.
Very practical. We need our cache of cat pictures anyways.
All right.
So if I could put it into a container like this gauges container that I just set up a little bit ago, I could run a serverless function, right? We know what serverless functions are. They sit on Azure and they can listen for all kinds of input triggers. So as a blob appears, right, which is just a file sitting out there, right? I could trigger a function that'll do the analysis, right, and get that number, and then stick that number into an Azure table. Okay. So I know how to do that.
And then the table would then connect to Power BI. Is that the idea?
Exactly.
Okay, that would work.
Okay. I'm not completely out there on this.
No, but theoretically that would work.
Okay. Right, and it's very Rube Goldbergian. It's like Mousetrap.
Yeah, it's like a lot of different pieces, like having to all align perfectly.
Exactly, and get that value from the character recognition. It's like the old guy that flips into the tub at the end, and the cage drops on the mouse.
Down, yeah.
I'm going to get the number and I'm going to drop it out there, and it'll appear on my Power BI dashboard.
I love that game so much. That game ruled. The only thing I didn't understand was, why did you collect the pieces of cheese? Did you have to add them up at the end or something?
Oh yeah.
There was a thing with cheese, and that's how
you had to collect the little pieces of cheese. Yeah.
That was like the point system.
Oh, it was a point system. Oh. We always ignored it, and we're like, yeah, cool, cheese.
I just wanted to build the thing.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to do. Yeah, that's what we really wanted to do. I just wanted to build the thing. We didn't care.
No, we didn't.
We just wanted to get everything aligned perfectly. So we're building Mousetrap today for your oil gauge.
Yes, for my oil tank that's in the basement. That's literally from the 70s.
Yeah.
So, and I've got 3 pictures of it sitting here, conveniently in my OneDrive, right? So I've got this.
I mean, this is important for me to kind of see.
It's very important.
So that I understand what I should be doing.
That's where it was this morning, and I literally, my wife went downstairs and said, Jeff, the tank is almost empty. We need to call the oil company and have oil delivered. Well, if it was on a dashboard that was being displayed on my refrigerator in my kitchen, I would know. Because we don't go down into our basement. Our basement's storage.
That makes sense. You could also have an alert, like through Logic Apps or through an Azure function that would like send a text message to either yourself or your wife.
You know, we could send a text message.
Make it look like it came from you, and then you look super duper organized, like you're on top of it. Yeah, that would be fun. I mean, we didn't have to do that today, but that's another thing that you could also do.
That would totally score points with the wife.
Have the app call the oil company directly.
Have the app call the oil company. That's a great idea. The front row had this great idea. Okay.
Yeah, so we could totally do that. So there's just like lots of things you could do to just keep extending it. It looks like Robert Tables asked, do oil companies work with AWS dash buttons?
No.
So pushing the button wouldn't work, so we'd have to call them a different way.
Yeah.
But that's another IoT implementation.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Chef Brent says also send a text message. There you go, jinx. Great minds think alike. Thanks, Chef Brent. I wonder why, oh, he did the winky face. That's because he works with Twilio.
I see.
Cheeky. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so
all right, so let's start this.
Like, so I'm going to be doing JavaScript. You're going to be doing C#, because you're C# Fritz.
And the hat.
So you said that you're a cloud guy, so it sounds like you're going to be doing the Azure function.
Yes, I'll take care of the Azure function.
And like the table storage and stuff. Yeah.
With
what do you want me to do? Yeah, so I can definitely try to like I can prototype some code that will eventually be on a Raspberry Pi, but I can do it from my laptop. And I can try and use this webcam.
Yep, if we
do it.
So if we have to put something together later that clamps the webcam to a Raspberry Pi and maybe a light because it's dark in the basement.
Yeah, we could 3D print something like that. Not today, but
not today.
That's definitely something I can help you with offline as well. I can teach you OpenSCAD, model something.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
And then figure out how to turn on the light when we take the picture. Okay. Let's start with just take the picture.
Yeah, let's just get the picture. So I need to get a picture to you in Blob Storage.
Yes.
Okay, so that's my mission right now.
Okay.
And I'm going to do that in Node.js just because I'm more confident with that. And because we have pretty good Node.js SDKs actually. So I'm going to use the Azure Storage SDK, I think.
Okay.
And then I'm going to use, so I've actually used this exact webcam before to do automated stuff on the Raspberry Pi as well. So, and I used Node-webcam package in NPM, and it worked really, really well. So I was doing integration testing where if someone opened a pull request in one of my libraries, I had the physical hardware there, and it would perform all of these like physical hardware tests, and it would take a shot of every single stage of that integration test, and then it would stitch them together and attach it to the GitHub pull request, which was ridiculously over-engineered.
But you had a complete record with all of these photos.
Yeah, so it was an OLED, because it was an OLED screen, so it had to show like all of these different patterns to make sure that they hadn't broken the rendering on the screen.
Wow.
I'm impressed.
And that works really well. So I think I'm going to go with Node webcam for that.
Why don't you need to switch the video to you.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know whether we were going to show myself. I should probably stop showing off and like get rid of these too. But I was just showing off that I'm in the terminal. So yeah, the matrix is pretty cool. So I just created like an empty repo for this because you gave me a vague idea of what we're working on today. It's called Oil Tank Vision. It's pretty much an empty directory right now. So am I going to do this while you do research for the
I'm doing a little bit of research for the function. Yep. Okay.
So so I'm just going to go into my directory. Is this large enough for everyone to see? I can make it a little bigger. Does that work?
Is that good for the room? Cool, I got thumbs up from the back row.
All right, I made it a tiny bit bigger again. So I'm going to create a file, I don't know, called test.
Sure.
Or just like upload blob.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know what to call this. So I'm just going to call it upload blob.js.
Okay, and it's just going to do the upload bits.
Well, it's going to like take a photo and upload, but I'm just kind of like umbrellaing it all in that. I'm just going to upload the blob after taking the photo. So I'm going to do it all in one file because this is just like us trying to go see it of our pants. So the first couple of things I need is there's a really cool package called, I'm going to make this bigger, sorry about that, Node webcam, I believe. Is that it? Yeah, cross-platform WebCam Cutter. So I know that this happens to work on both Linux and OS X. And on Windows, they actually do package like an exe file for you to use as well to be compatible with all the webcams. So because I'm on a Unix system today, I actually already have ImageSnap installed because I've used this I've used this package before. So I just need to install FS Webcam. I'm absolutely not going to do sudo. I'm not sure why that they said to do that on Linux, but so I should just be able to npm install this package, which is what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to do npm install node webcam, and that's going to run.
No, wait, okay, I'm going to play a little naive here.
Yeah.
You've got 3 different windows going on there.
Yes.
Are these 2 command prompts on the right and then via Vim on the left?
Yes, so I have Vim on the left here. So this is where I can just start writing code.
Okay.
And then on here I have, I usually just have 2 just because like sometimes I'll just be like messing around or I want to copy code from another directory over here, and sometimes open a whole new window. So I sort of just like run, you know, the test file. So if I want to run it later, I run it over here to make sure it's working, and then I come back to my code. Generally. Okay. That's sort of my workflow. So like I know that Visual Studio Code is like the choice for a lot of JavaScript engineers, but I'm just used to using Vim. So that's sort of what I'm doing. The next thing I need actually is the Azure Storage Node SDK, because you said that I need to upload the blob, right?
Yeah, can we get that into a blob?
Yeah, we can get it into a blob. And I actually helped write some of the documentation for this.
Really?
Package. Yeah, so I'm gonna call that out and do a humble brag later. So I also need to npm install Azure Storage. That's pretty much all I need, I think. So I'm gonna start requiring these packages. Oops. I'm gonna call it storage. And I have no autocomplete today, unlike the other day, so I'm very nervous. And then I'm going to do webcam because require, oops, node webcam. What are you doing over there, Fritz?
I am looking at how I'm going to have to interact with the... Do you
want me to swap to you?
No, don't swap just yet.
You're figuring some stuff out?
Figuring some stuff out around cognitive services. Let me get those docs so that when it comes time to talk about it,
cool.
I've got them ready. But I've got the images here, and I've got my Azure Storage emulator running locally, so I can simulate what happens when it arrives on Azure.
Oh, that's cool. So you don't have to like, yeah. So if the conference Wi-Fi goes down, you're going to be okay.
Well, not just that, but I can develop against a local service instead of having to go against Azure directly.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Are you fussy on like the width and height of the image at all?
I am not. The text recognition will be able to handle it.
All right, I'm going to just do 1280 by 720 because that's what like the
That's what the camera does?
That's just what the default options are.
Okay.
I don't know if I need to save the shots. I'm just deleting a bunch of crap because I'm not really sure what I'm going to be doing. I think I do, I need to actually name the device later, so I can do that. Callback return location. All right, so instead of the file, I think I actually want the buffer because I'm going to pass that directly to the storage API.
Okay.
So I'm going to do buffer. That's just going to give me like literally like the file contents so that I don't have to like read it back from the file system or anything like that. Just save some time. I think that's what I'm going to go with for now. And then I'm going to have to like list, how did they do it? Webcam. Oh, I kind of screwed it up for myself. Let's do cam equals new webcam. It's fine. And then it looks like I just passed in the ops. And if you want to be like super correct, this is like a constructor. So let's capitalize that before people back home start getting upset at me. All right. So
they're not going to get that upset.
I don't know. You'd be surprised. So there's a function here called webcam.list, and then I get a callback with a list. So I'm going to try doing that. Wait, how did they do this? Webcam equals, okay, cool. So cam.list, and then that should have the list in it. Sorry to keep going back and forth. This is probably blinding the audience every time I go to the light screen. So I just get a list. I don't get an error. So that's like a not quite idiomatic for Node, but that's okay. I'm just going to console log out the list because I want to see what I actually get. Like, is it the string names of the webcams? Like, what is it? So I'm gonna try to do, what did I call it? Upload blob. Oh, and I got some that broke already. Webcam is not a constructor. Interesting. All right, so how did they do it? I should have just copy pasted the entire example. Oh, it's webcam.create. Thank you. Audience help.
Pair programming from the audience.
Thank you
Phenomenal.
so much. That was very well spotted. So again, like this is not the most idiomatic, at least for me, library, but it does actually work very effectively. So thank you for your help. So let's try that again. Oh, it's because I didn't scroll. All right, cool. So we have a whole bunch of stuff. It looks like you get an array back. And what was the camera called? It's a Logitech
C920.
Okay, so it looks like HD Pro webcam C920 number 2.
Number 2?
I think maybe I have one of these that I used to use on my laptop a while ago.
Okay.
So I'm actually just going to copy this, and I think that if I look at the options, which camera to use. So I just want to be lazy, and I don't even want to have to worry about it. That's because my Vim clipboard is set up wrong. Okay, so I'm just going to use this, and I am going to try and be good and not mix my quotes. Okay, so it looks like I kind of have everything I need. I'm just going to keep listing because it'd be good to keep listing if something goes wrong. Okay. But I want to now like take the photo. So it looks like I can do webcam.capture. So this should be fine. So I just want to find something that, it looks like all of them capture them to a file, which is probably okay, because if I have the same file name, it'll just overwrite it. It's not going to fill up my hard drive. I think there's a way to do it where you don't save the picture, but I'm going to just ignore that and be lazy. So it should just be webcam.capture, and then you get a callback with an error or the data. And I kind of specified I want a buffer, so that data should be the buffer. So let's do cam.capture. And then I should get error and data, and I actually need to supply that first argument actually. So it's just a string of like, I don't know, pick. So that will probably show up on my hard drive. And then in here, oops. In here, I'm pretty sure that, actually I'm just gonna, this is what I generally do whenever I do something for the first time. I'm just like, just console log what came out.
Yeah, let's see what it
found. So if I put this up here, I just kind of wanted to take a picture of something recognizable.
Don't recognize me.
Let's see what happens.
All
right, so we saw a buffer.
Okay.
If I list pic.jpg, if I do open pic.jpg, what do we got? Oh! That literally just took the photo view just then.
Oh my
awesome.
gosh. All right, that was easy.
I know, right? Because it's JavaScript. It's easy. Okay, so
wait a sec.
I'm trolling, I promise.
Okay.
That was a good sound effect. So now that I have the buffer, I have used this before. I've totally used this API before. So with the blob storage, I sort of need to do all this container if not exist, and I have to create the blob service and everything like that. But I do have a method, I think. I don't think there's an example for it, but I can actually do, oh man, sorry if I'm making everyone sick by scrolling, but I'm trying to find it. Fast storage, I thought there was, anyway, I'm gonna find the method, but it should just be like upload blob from stream. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So I need to create the service first. Did you want to interject with something?
No.
Okay.
I was going to say you could do a Control F and find. I'm sorry, Command F.
Oh,
you're on
yeah,
a Mac.
but like blob is like such a common word in these docs that I was, I will find it later. Oh yeah, there are others such as create page blob from stream, but I can also just create block blob from stream, I believe too. So.
Now, what's the difference between a page blob and a block blob?
I actually have no idea.
Fantastic. There you go. There's your answer.
Do you know?
No,
oh,
I don't.
I thought you were asking me because I didn't know.
Right?
All right, so...
I know when I click Upload Blob on the thing, on Azure, there's a thing here. It says blob type.
I'm pretty sure we need a block blob.
Okay.
Because I've just
I always do block.
I always do block as well.
Okay.
So that's probably why. If anyone in the audience knows, or if anyone on chat knows, let us know.
Let me add some value in Google with that.
Yeah, I'm having a look at the chat
Bing.
too.
Okay.
It's hard to keep up with the chat today because when you pair program, it's really hard. Robert Tables asks, I don't hear it, but did you get Suz to use the Vortex Racer 3 keyboard?
No, we don't have enough space here at the desk here front. The folks here in the room will tell you that we are literally packed. We are. There's 3 machines up here. There's 2 different types of video switchers. We've got 2 cameras now, and yeah.
Do you say packed to the rafters here in America?
Packed to the rafters.
Yeah, that's what we say. It's packed to the rafters, or it's chockers.
Chockers.
It's chock-a-block with technology. Just thought I'd give you a Aussie slang.
Packed to the rafters makes me think of the guy from Die Hard 2. Rack 'em, stack 'em, and pack 'em.
What's your container name?
The container name is Gauges. Gauges, the plural.
Oh wait. I never spell this wrong. Okay, is that right? I mean, I
looks
never
good.
spell it right, but I spelled it right today. So public access.
Pair programming.
I think I'm going to get rid of this option. I don't know. So it always says create container if not exist, but I sort of just don't really want to use that. I don't know. I feel like
it's already there.
It's already there.
It's like,
so I'm actually
right?
not going to use this. So I'm going to delete, I'm going to just delete this. So I've created my blob service, but I need like your connection string and stuff like that, right? So I'm actually going to npm install a new package for that. So it's called it's not called that. It's called .env. And when you require it, what it does is it looks for like an environment file that has a connection string in it. And spoiler alert, I lied before when I said that this directory was empty. I will show you in Vim instead because it's a bit harder, easier for you to see. So we have our package JSON and all that stuff that I just initialized, but we do have a sneaky little hidden file in here called env. So
sneaky.
I am sneaking a thing in there. So what I'm going to do, that is the wrong command. What I'm going to do is I'm going to require this new package .env. It's like a mnemonic. As soon as you say it, you type it, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if I require .env and run config, that's going to actually look for a .env file, and it's going to like suck up those parameters.
It's going to put those into variables for you.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right. And I have named it, I think, the right thing for this package to look for. So when I say create blob service, it's going to look through all the process and variables to make sure that I've set that connection string. But for those who are watching live and at home, they sort of didn't see that step because we don't want to share our credentials.
No, we don't want to share credentials. We've doxed ourselves far too many times.
Oh, yes. I've had to rotate so many of my IoT hub keys. It's not even funny. I just get used to it now. And I create like new shared access policies just for like one project now.
Oh, man.
So that I don't ruin all my other projects. So. All right, so once I've created that, I'm gonna actually do this create blob from stream. I'm hoping that this one called that. So I'm gonna copy this, but I'm just gonna change like what it says, right?
Okay.
How are we doing on time?
About halfway.
Do we need to go to you?
Not yet. We're good.
So your container was called Gauges, right?
Yes. G-A.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Where did the Q come from?
You don't have the mechanical keyboard.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So if you have a container, the container name is Gauges, but then do you have a folder or something?
Nope, that's the container. No folders. It's because I just want to lob all those photos in there.
Got it.
And eventually we'll clear them out later.
All right. So this is going to be my stream actually. It's going to be my blob stream. And then this is, what do you want me to call it?
Okay. I'm going to throw a wrinkle at you. This is important. So that I know when the picture was taken, can you name it year, month, day, 24 hours, minutes.jpg? Please. Please.
Can I not use Unix time?
No, you can't use Unix time.
That would be so much easier if I could just do...
Throw me a frickin' bone!
Come on, Sue. Help me out. I just want year, month, day.
Date.now, like to string. Can I not just do that? No.
JavaScript won't do that. It's going to give you the Unix from Epoch.
So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that when you're doing your Azure Function stuff. Is that okay?
Okay.
So like for now, just to see if it works.
Got extra for you on line 27? Street.
I'm just changing this. Give me one sec. Oh, thanks. I was wondering why that coloring was weird. Okay, so this is going to be file name. It's eventually going to be exactly what you want artisanally, but in JavaScript that's actually quite challenging. And then if there's an error or whatever, if there's no error, then...
Pretty easy in C#, right?
This is pretty easy in C#. Two-string and then format.
Yeah, we don't have that. Maybe I'll npm install date functions. Okay, so...
After you install date functions, what do you do after that?
You can just like format it however you want. Like it's like pretending...
I'm sorry.
All right, I need to
She's
do this because you need to actually start working on your stuff.
I do.
So it's not from a local file. It should be from stream. I can actually cheat, and you know what? Let's cheat.
You know
let's
what?
Not do it from
actually,
stream.
MizArdX is saying do a new date to ISO string.
Does that do the 24-hour time though? And does it have like the time? I thought it also amends the time zone on the end of it too.
It probably does.
All right, so let's do new date dot now. No, wait, new date, sorry, it doesn't have to be now. To ISO string, that's what they're saying in the chat.
To ISO string. And there's a question here in the chat about...
Yeah, see, it's got the time zone, it's got like the Z and everything, that's not what you want.
No, I want it all jammed together as one.
Yeah, exactly, that's why I was like...
I mean, hang on. I could be nice and change my format string to accept that. I could.
I mean, what... Look at this!
C# can still parse it.
Look how beautiful this is!
Oh, that's hideous. I don't live in 15 trillion or whatever that is. What is that?
All right, so you can do a blob from... I'm just going to like move on.
Sure.
You can do a blob from...
If you want to do the
this
ISO string,
data.
I can do the ISO string.
I'm going to just do it while you're doing Azure Function because I got to have something to do. So...
you don't want to just sit here and make funny faces at me while I'm coding?
Maybe. So instead of the stream, like usually what I would do is, you know, you create a new stream readable and then you push the buffer onto it and you do all this other stuff. I'm going to be lazy given that I already have the local file and it's doing it like, you know, it does it for me anyway. So I'm actually going to like switch tactics and just do pic.jpg, right? Because
okay.
that's what this does here. So I'm going to change this back to a string. I'm just going to call it pic.jpg because that's exactly what it creates every time, and it just overwrites the last one. So you're always going to get the latest one.
I don't need to keep lots of those files on the Pi. This is running on the Pi.
No.
Find that one after it's written it and then upload it.
And just so that things aren't confusing, I'm going to, I just never spell that right. I'm going to just call it gauge.jpg, and I want you to see if that uploads, okay? Did I just like delete that before? I swear I typed this already. Okay. So I'm gonna run this and then it's probably gonna, oh, can you just cross to your screen for a sec? Can I cross to you?
Go ahead.
Because I named my environment variable wrong and I need to like really go in and fix it. So is there anything that you want to explain to the group while you're doing that?
So while you're doing that, so here's my blob storage. This is that Gauges container hanging out there. And I went out and I found how to use cognitive services, and what I'm specifically going to use is the recognized text computer vision API.
Okay.
So what this will do is it has several different modes that it can run in, and written or printed text. And clearly what's on my gauge here is printed or hammered in text that's, you know, on this you know, it's metal that's in my basement. So what I'm going to do is I want to use a printed mode. This is the API documentation available. Everybody can get to this. It's out there on docs.microsoft.com, and it'll route you through to an appropriate location that you can actually test running things against. So I'm printed mode, and then you need to pass in some headers that include your subscription key. Now I've already set up a cognitive services out here called Oil Tank Eyes. It just makes sense, right? It's doing vision recognition, so we'll call it Oil Tank Eyes. And there's a comment in the chat room I want to make sure that I address here. Someone in the chat room said if you took pictures every 5 minutes, that's about 8,000 pictures per month. So that's 8,000 file transfers, 8,000 function calls, 8,000 OCR calls. I'm not burning oil that fast. I think if we ran this maybe every 4 to 6 hours.
Okay.
Because if I'm going through maybe 4 or 5 gallons a day, I'll be able to see at least a nice gentle curve when we plot some sort of a graph later.
That makes sense. So I can basically like set up a cron job or something. I won't do it now, but that's
Right,
totally
when we
possible.
would deploy to a Pi, we would set up a cron job that would just execute the code that you have.
I have some other ideas on how we could deploy this to the Pi really effectively too, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
So we're going to swap back to me.
Go ahead.
And basically all I did was I changed that environment variable name, but I also just like am console logging if there's an error because I'm nervous that I basically like screwed it all up. So upload blob. Yeah, I screwed it up. Oh, that's because you shouldn't copy paste.
While you're looking at that, Rambling Geek asks, would it make more sense to do the OCR on the Pi right after we take the picture and then upload the text? Well, we could do that, but then we don't have the image if we need to go back and reference it later.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And also, eventually, when we do upload and we have the photos up there, we might be able to do some neat things where we isolate the window on the gauge and the position of the number, right? We'll be able to measure how many pixels that is. And in the future, we could actually measure.
Sorry, I
right?
did that without warning you.
Not a problem. So the 60 is right in the middle where the indicator is. So it may be in the future when the 60 is slightly off center, like it is in this picture, right? So that's kind of above the 50, but not quite at 40. Maybe it's at 57. But if we're constantly taking the picture at the same place, we might be able to approximate exactly where it is, right? And be able to get something that is accurate instead of just 50 or 40. But for right now, for what we're trying to accomplish, I just want to read the number that's being displayed and be able to output that information.
That makes sense.
Did you just, I'm looking at your lower right corner here.
Yeah.
Did you just call this Kaka demo?
No, that was what I was running before. No,
Oh my
I was
God.
running the demo before. So
It's on a different screen. We're not seeing Suz's screen.
So
just
I'm
yet.
having an issue with your connection string actually. So I'm going to let you take over and do the Azure function while I debug that.
Okay.
And then I'll let you know if I think that I've like
So
gotten
you've got
something
it taking the picture, you've got it saved on disk, you just need to do that last piece, a little bit of debugging to get it into the blob.
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do then is step through now. I installed the Azure storage simulator, and it's running here on my machine. You can see I have the storage emulator running, and it's kind of hiding behind the DevIntersection bit. But you see this little doodad. There you go. I have the storage emulator user interface, which is actually a command line tool. But this is running and sitting here on my machine. It actually is using a local SQL database to interact and have some storage capabilities. But I have that available that I can work with so that I'm not constantly, while I'm building my application, debugging and running against the containers that are live out on Azure, right? I'm in a developer mode, so only run local on my machine. This also lets me work on an airplane.
Ah.
I also installed the Azure Storage Explorer, which lets me navigate around all of my accounts that I have out there on Azure and the local storage. So I have my local storage accounts here, and I can see, and I'll be able to navigate through these as I go and build and work with those. All right, so I actually started writing a little bit of this code already. So I have a function here, and I cleaned out some of the things that are in here. So I want to name my function. When we do a file new project, there is a new Azure Functions project that you can choose. And I've already put some of these things in here, and I'll show you exactly how this works, and we'll fill in some of the missing pieces here. I named my function process new gauge photo. So when a new photo comes in, and I'm going to be listening to a blob trigger, when in that gauges container that Suz is uploading into, I'm going to grab the name of that photo, right? And that's what this name is here, right? That's it. It's going to capture that and pass it into this name parameter that's being passed into the function. And the full location that I'm actually listening to is jeffcat images, blob, core, windows.net. And it's jeffcat images because that's the name of my storage account. And then /containers, that's the /gauges, that's the container that I'm using, and then that name at the end, that's the actual location where this thing lives. And I want to have another method that'll do the recognize text. Send this stuff to the recognize text API. Now the way that the recognize text API works, Coming back over to this. So I'm going to say printed mode. I need to pass in a subscription key, which thankfully they updated the user interface, and it no longer shows it on the web page and docks me to all of you fine folks that are watching.
Yes, that's always a
yes.
plus.
Ooh, Mizard X might have a solution for you there for the date processing.
Oh, wow. Someone wrote a regex for me. Thank you so much, MizX. That's amazing. Oh, so they're replacing a bunch of the, yeah, that makes sense. They're just like cutting out all the colons and the weird stuff.
The things that aren't digits.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you so much. That
we'll show that in a minute when we come back to Suz.
And then they're cutting off the Z off the M by the looks of it too.
All right. So, so after I have my information in my headers, right, all of these services on Azure are HTTP endpoints. I can pass in a URL that I want it to parse. So let's do this. To test this, the cognitive services is going to see the blob storage. So I'm going to go back over here on Azure, and I'm going to go into my storage account, and I'm going to upload into my gauges container, and I can do this right here inside the Azure portal, and I will choose to go, look at all that junk I have. I will choose to grab, let me grab this image. I've got 3 different size images of this, and I will upload that, and in just a second it'll be available out there. There we go. If I click, there's a URL for this. I'll copy that, and it's not a problem if you see it. There it is, it's available and out on Azure, coming out of my Azure storage. So if I take that same location now, let's go back over to that API, and let's test and see if this works. I'm going to pass that in here so that the URL that I want, let me zoom in a little bit there, I know that's a little bit small for our folks in the audience and certainly the folks online watching. Oh my gosh, Death Packs might have another format for you there in chat as well. I don't know if you folks are seeing chat, but take a look at Twitch. The chat room is actually writing code and sending it over for Suz to try out here.
It's pretty awesome.
So I'm going to ask Cognitive Services now to look at that image and tell me what it finds. And of course, the key is right there in the middle of the headers that it's showing at the end. Thanks so much. And they're showing it again down here. Way to go. So what this is saying is I've accepted that, and it's actually sitting at this location, but it's not quite done yet, right? We're processing it, and it's available for you to go check out what's going on. So let me grab that location, and I'm going to go open Postman. I have Postman available so I can interact with and check out things that are going on with API endpoints. All right, this is a tool that's built on Chromium. You can use it on Windows, Mac, and Linux, and it allows you to navigate to those HTTP endpoints and inspect things. So I'm just going to send that, and it's going to come back and say, access denied due to a missing subscription key. I need to pass my subscription key in here. So let's add a header for that. Now the subscription key goes by the format. I might as well show it because it's already doxed and out there, and I will get rid of that later. I'll just rotate keys. So that's the key that we're going to use. Isn't it great when you just give in to the doxing? Because you can't avoid it. It's like, all right, we'll fix that later. Send, and now check this out. I get all this information coming back about what it found. And look at this, just like you were saying, Scully, right? Right there, right in the middle of this.
Oh, that's actually really good.
Right? I mean, I didn't modify the picture.
That's super good.
Straight from, it's straight from Mrs. C. Fritz's camera. She took this picture. I literally called her yesterday and said,
really?
Mrs. C. Fritz, can you take a picture of the oil tank for me? Why the heck am I taking a picture of the oil tank?
We seriously did not plan this, folks. Like, we're making this up as we go along.
No, really, I called her. I called her yesterday and said, can you take a picture? Because I had those other pictures. So it found Scully. It also found UniGauge, right? So if I go back to the picture.
Also, if you check your container.
Do I have another picture in there from you?
You might have one. So I just used your access key and your account name instead, and it worked fine. So
there it is, gauge.jpg.
It's probably not a gauge, but
it's probably not.
Oh, did it actually do .jpg? That's hilarious. Okay.
No, .jpg. Yeah. And if I go to that, I've got, dear Lord. Well, at least it's my better side. You can't see.
All right, I'm going to work on the file name. I'm actually going to do Mizzard's one because theirs is the shortest to type. So
Okay.
So are you still doing your stuff?
I'm still doing, yes.
All right, we got
So I've got
16 minutes.
16 minutes?
We got 16
I'm going to buzz
minutes,
through
Jeff.
this.
All right.
So there it found unique gauge, and it's telling me actually where that text is on the document, on the picture. And if I keep scrolling down here, it finds something that it calls NC. It wasn't that picture. It was this picture that we uploaded. So NC is actually, I think it's this that it's finding. If I continue scrolling down here, it also found 60. It saw the 60, right, from in there. Cool. So it found a number. What else did it find in here? If I scroll down, it also found 10. Well, that's not 10. If I keep looking at this, it actually says confidence is low. So it's telling me, I think this is 10, if you had to guess, right? For what I'm trying to accomplish, I don't care that it thinks that's 10. So I actually want to ignore that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let's start with grabbing all of this JSON. I love JSON and working with it inside of Visual Studio because I get to cheat. We have this really cool feature in Visual Studio 2017.
Damn,
where I can,
you're trying to make me jealous?
I'm going to make you insanely jealous because I can say
Okay.
paste special, paste JSON as classes. All I did was copy the JSON. And it generated.
Okay, I've got
That's amazing.
a
probably
clap
shouldn't have
back
been-
for you. In JavaScript, you don't have to have that much formality.
Because it's dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fine. We can do dynamic in C# also.
I actually don't think any particular language is superior to the other. You just use what works best for the job
Exactly.
you get done.
Whatever works best. If you wanted to use Python, great. If you wanted to use PHP, shame on you.
All right, I need to scroll back up a bit because I'm literally going to type out word for word that really awesome regex. So.
Okay, and there we go. All right, so I've given into the doxing, and I'm going to actually rotate that key now, so that I get rid of it. So I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to run back to my dashboard, and this is how you rotate keys. Click into this. I'm going to go to keys, and I'm going to say regenerate key 1. Yes. All right, and I'll copy that so that I have it available, and I will not show my screen. I'm actually going to go back over to the camera real quick
You can go over
so
to
that
me if
nobody
you want.
sees my.
Does anyone want to go to me? You want to go to me?
We can. Hang on.
We're on me now.
That
So.
blurred on it. Is that a Azure update? Is that like something you have on the screen?
So so the question in the room. Oh, you went over to yourself.
I did because I thought it'd be cool.
The question in the room was about the blur that we had over the keys on the Azure portal.
Ah, that's a good question.
That's actually being done by the Azure portal now. It used to be an add-in that some of the folks on the Azure Developer Relations team wrote. But we have this great feature inside Azure that'll blur out all the subscription IDs and keys so that you don't accidentally dox yourself. It's only you only dox yourself when you actually go and read the docs.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That was a terrible pun.
It worked. All right, so I have my
Oh,
object.
do you want to go back to you?
Sure. I'm going to start because we're running out of time.
Yeah,
We've got
yeah.
12 minutes left.
All right.
I'm going to actually grab the code that I already wrote and paste it back in and talk through it. At
I
this
might
point.
end up accidentally uploading jumbo file names right now. So.
That's fine. So I'm just going to copy in exactly
Ooh, that did work.
what
Okay.
I wrote because I did practice this ahead of time because I didn't want to waste your time.
I
all right.
called it gauge.js, not JPEG. Okay.
You're trying to bring more JavaScript? to me?
Yeah, I'm trying to give you secret JavaScript instead of files.
Secret JavaScript. Now, our friend Fierce Kittens would be very upset at all this JavaScript floating around. Fierce Kittens is another woman who streams on Twitch, and she's not fond of JavaScript.
I didn't know that about her.
Yeah.
That gives me extra trolling.
She prefers
power.
C++.
Oh, I mean, I'm a fan of that too. So.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
That's an elite developer running C++.
I think I'm ready actually. So, yeah. Hang on.
And it's uploaded?
Yep.
All right, so I'm just going to take a peek real
Is
quick.
that file format satisfactory for you?
Let's take a look. I'm going to go back.
Thank you, by the way, MizidX. That was a really beautiful regex.
So I'm going to check out my container here, and I'm going to go into blobs, gauges, and I have, ooh, that's really close. 2018, is that the one you just pushed up?
That one.
Or is it this one?
It was probably the middle one.
The middle one here.
Yeah, the middle
Yep,
one.
that's the latest one. 2018, 1206, 22, 19, 12. You've got the seconds in there. I can adjust.
Okay.
I can adjust.
Okay, sorry, I got close. I got pretty close.
That's awesome. So I can just
Thanks, Mizidex. That was awesome.
update that. So now if I look at that file that you gave me, copy, open a new tab. Yeah, there's that guy.
Was that the seconds or?
Yeah, that was the seconds.
Do you want me to get rid of the seconds? It's like
If
a
you'd like to get rid of the
change.
seconds, that would be.
All right, instead of like substring 014, it should just be 012, right? To take the last two off.
Sure.
All right, so I'm going to run it again. You let me know if that's good.
Okay, so what I've got here is I'm now returning a type called oil tank reading from my run. All right, so the blob trigger is going to run when your photos gets uploaded.
Okay.
I'm going to grab the name and I'm going to parse out and turn that into a date. I'm going to take that date, I'm going to log that, hey, I'm processing this photo. And then I'm going to send over to my text API, go find out what this is.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it asynchronously.
Okay.
But I'm actually running it synchronously here because functions run synchronously. Inside here, I'm going to reach out to that cognitive services API, call the recognize text method. This is printed text, and it's actually sitting in, and I know all of my things are uploaded into this gauges container under JeffCat images.
And you got the name from the trigger, the trigger context, right?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. So I pass in my subscription key as a request header, and I pass in, I'm going to put that in app settings so that I don't have to carry that around. And then I'm going to post to that cognitive services with a little block of JSON that has my payload of, in the same format that we saw on the docs page, URL equals that image location.
Okay.
Make sure I get an accepted status code, and then let's make sure that we have where it's working on it. Let's wait 5 seconds, just to make sure that it finishes processing. I could actually do something to say retry every second until you actually get something. If we wait 5 seconds, it's been long enough in my tests. So we could make this.
This is a very magic number line
It
of
is.
code. I'm going to criticize it, but yes.
It is.
But it works for now.
It works for now.
Especially when we have 8 minutes.
Make it work, make it better later.
Okay, we got 8 minutes.
I'm going to get the string back from that of what it actually did, and I'm going to deserialize it into that JSON object that I wrote out.
Okay.
And then all I'm going to do is go look and find those recognition result lines where the confidence isn't low, but I can turn it into an integer. If I turn it into an integer, log that I found that value, and then let's put it in this out value thing that I'm returning, which actually, because serverless and Azure functions, I'm wiring up to a table, an Azure table
you're
storage.
returning a table type.
It'll
okay.
just put it right in there, and now I can parse it with whatever in the future.
You know, I'm impressed that you wrote all of this code when I was debugging that thing before.
I did the Julia Child. Look, it's done!
Okay,
I already
okay.
wrote it.
Now I feel less intimidated about the fact that I wrote like 20 lines of code and most of it was copy-paste. Okay, so are you going to try running that?
So if I try running this now, it's going to look at my local storage
Yeah.
over here.
Oh, so you can actually see if it went in.
Exact. Well, so
I
I'm
love
going to
that
look
all
at
of
my.
this is local, by the way. It's
Yeah.
super
So let's
legit.
do this local. I'm going to refresh and look at my local attached
Okay. I have to look at chat.
storage
sorry.
accounts. No problem. The blob containers. No. I'm looking for. I didn't create a container locally.
Oh.
Which one is it? Is it the emulator? I think it's this one.
What?
I need to create a blob container called gauges. And I need to actually upload.
Wait, why do you have to do that locally?
I don't have it creating the container. Like, you were trying to create the container.
Yeah, but like, shouldn't it just be getting that? Oh, you're doing a local test.
I'm doing a local test.
I'm very confused, but okay. That's
So
not how
I'm going
I-
to
that's
copy
not
this
how I use
in
it.
and see if it, right? So it's uploading,
Oh, I think I understand.
right? So it uploaded to my local storage, and then over here, processing photos snapped on, right? It's 2018, 1201, 1642, processing that photo.
Oh, I didn't realize you were using the emulator. That's really clever.
So, but check it out.
Is
Check
that a
it
new
out.
feature?
Check it out. Look at that. Processed photo snapped on. Found the gauge value. So it succeeded. So that's the file name. And it should have put it now in a local table storage for me. So I'm going to close this.
Dude, if this worked,
And if I go over to tables
I'm going to
here
be so delighted.
and refresh. Oil tank readings.
Okay. Ooh. Dude. Yeah.
Okay.
That's so awesome.
So I've got it in, but this is working locally, right? The next step would be for me to deploy this to Azure so that it works and is actually receiving and working with what's being uploaded to from the Pi, right?
Totally.
So I've got so the cloud piece I have working. Yeah, I had it a little bit working earlier, but we've explained it. I think we understand what's going on here. I have my code in the GitHub repository. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I actually just added that line of code, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I changed the substring just to wipe off the last
So
couple
that
of
we
seconds.
get just the hours, minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did. And then as you can see here, I ended up just replacing, instead of it just like picking them up, I explicitly put in your account name and your access key, and that was all that solved the bug. So that was really weird. I think I was just like maybe using the wrong connection string.
Okay.
But theoretically, if you were to run this on a Pi, another way that you could also do this, instead of having a cron job that runs this node thing, what you could do, I'm just going to explain this super quickly, is you could use something like Azure IoT Edge.
Okay. What does IoT Edge do? Yeah,
so IoT Edge is a runtime that basically will turn your Raspberry Pi into like an IoT device.
Okay.
And then what you can do is you can have like the
I thought it
Azure,
already was
you can
an
actually
IoT
run
device.
that Azure function locally as a container.
Oh.
As a module under the IoT Edge, and then I could also have another module that is literally doing the capturing.
Okay.
And then it could just pass that blob over to the Azure function. So that's another alternative, just so you know about it. And the main advantage with that is that whenever you update one of these pieces and package it up in a Docker container, it automatically deploys it to the device. So that's one fancy deployment.
Oh my
option.
gosh, yes.
So that's all I really wanted to make you aware of. That's pretty cool. You can also use something like Watchtower to make your own kind of, if you didn't want to use IoT Edge, you could actually put these in Docker containers, and then you could like basically just like use Watchtower to deploy it.
Hang on, run a Docker container on a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, you can totally do that.
Okay, so in the room, you know what Docker containers are, right? We've done Docker. I'm used to Docker containers. I'm running websites and I'm deploying big things, and you put a container on a Pi. That's like
pretty cool.
That's like shoving an elephant into a VW Beetle.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool.
Okay, it is. Absolutely.
So that's probably something that I would do. I would either do IoT Edge or I would use Watchtower, which is just like a process you can install that whenever a container updates, it goes back down to the device. And the container would just literally contain this file I wrote and pass in some environment variables for your blob storage, and then you could host your Azure function in the cloud, and then that would be the other alternative.
Do the whole thing. All right, so let's do one more test to make sure we got the file name coming out right. Let's actually take a picture of the both of us this time instead of just my silly angle here. And there it goes.
I just saw the light come on.
The light came on and it went off. Trust us, the light came on. And if I go over here on my side.
It's a shame I couldn't do the stream thing.
There it is. Okay, so go ahead and flip the video feed over to my machine.
Sorry.
No worries. No worries. We got this.
2 minutes.
And 2 minutes to go. There it is. So we've got the camera taking pictures. It's in the right file name format that my piece now knows how to pull down, parse, and put into it. But I don't have a gauge here.
Yeah, but do you feel confident going home now and putting this on a Pi?
So I can put that on a Pi and schedule it to run.
I mean, I'll clean this up before I give it to you.
Sure. And I've put the code out on GitHub repository for my service. This is under github.com/C#Fritz/oil-tank-vision.
Can I pull request you with mine?
Fantastic, yes.
I mean, even though it doesn't work in the solution, but maybe we can like
just put a folder next to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
And then we've got it going. Fantastic. Any questions from the room? Got some folks taking pictures of the repository. I have some C# stickers. I've got some .NET Bot stickers if you're interested, and some cards. Do you have any stickers with you? From
I didn't bring my stickers because like I just assume no one knows about my Twitch stream here. So
Sunday morning, I'm going first thing in the morning now because Sunday morning works for me. I'll be broadcasting at 10 in the morning East Coast time, 7 a.m. Pacific time. And then I stop at noon my time because you start.
Yes, that's right. So I start at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern US time,
And
just to make it confusing.
if you've been watching us on the Visual Studio channel, Visual Studio will host both of our shows. So you can just remember twitch.tv/Visual Studio, and it'll show whoever's currently broadcasting, and you can jump off from there into the individual channels.
Do you have a cool sound to like sign us out?
A cool sound to sign us out. I've got applause. I've got...
I saw the sad trombone. You should have played that when my stuff was broken.
I could have done that. I've got... No, that's not good. I've got the Taken guy. He was here on Tuesday.
We could just do woo.
We just do... That's great.
All right, that's it.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Twitch. Great seeing you. We'll catch you on Sunday.
Thanks for all the chats. Sorry that we couldn't reply to them all.
All right.